Hare Krishna devotees, please accept my humble obeisances. All goes to Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. I don't. Albeli Sriraj Mataji is not there. I think it's in the call. Let me see. Her turn today. Ati Albeli. Yes. Okay. Anyone else would like to read today? I will share my screen. If not,
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, I can read Prabhuji.
Sure, Mother. Thank you. Let me share my screen. We're reading from 23rd to 33 verse, Mother, today. From
Sure.
chapter 28.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Let's start with
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naranchaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jain Budhirayet Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Sloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistikim. Hare Krishna devotees, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Gurudev. Today we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 28, Kapila's instructions on the execution of devotional service, 23rd to 33 verses. 23. The yogi should fix in his heart the activities of Lakshmi, the goddess of fortune, who is worshipped by all demigods and is the mother of the Supreme Person, Brahma. She can always be found massaging the legs and thighs of the Transcendental Lord, very carefully serving him in this way. 24. Next, the yogi should fix his mind in meditation on the personality of Godhead's thighs, the storehouse of all energy. The Lord's thighs are whitish blue, like the luster of the linseed flower, and appear most graceful when the Lord is carried on the shoulders of Garuda. Also, the yogi should contemplate his rounded hips, which are encircled by a girdle that rests on the exquisite yellow silk cloth that extends down to his ankles. 25. The yogi should then meditate on his moon-like navel in the center of his abdomen. From his navel, which is the foundation of the entire universe, sprang the lotus stem containing all the different planetary systems. The lotus is the residence of Brahma, the first created being. In the same way, the yogi should concentrate his mind on the Lord's nipples, which resemble a pair of most exquisite emeralds and which appear whitish because of the rays of the milk white pearl necklaces adorning his chest. 26. The yogi should then meditate on the chest of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the abode of Goddess Mahalakshmi. The Lord's chest is the source of all transcendental pleasure for the mind and full satisfaction for the eyes. The yogi then should imprint on his mind the neck of the personality of Godhead, who is adored by the entire universe. The neck of the Lord serves to enhance the beauty of the Kaustuva gem, which hangs on his chest. 27. The yogi should further meditate upon the Lord's four arms, which are the source of all the powers of the demigods who control the various functions of material nature. Then the yogi should concentrate on the polished ornaments which were burnished by Mount Mandara as it revolved. He should also duly contemplate the Lord's discus, the Sudarshana Chakra, which contains 1,000 spokes and a dazzling luster, as well as the conch, which looks like a swan in his lotus-like palm. 28. The yogi should meditate upon his club, which is named Kamodaki and is very dear to him. This club smashes the demons, which are always inimical soldiers, and is smeared with their blood. One should also concentrate on the nice garland on the neck of the Lord, which is always surrounded by bumblebees with their nice buzzing sound, and one should meditate upon the pearl necklace on the Lord's neck, which is considered to represent the pure living entities who are always engaged in his service. 29. The yogi then should meditate on the lotus like countenance of the Lord, who presents his different forms in this world out of compassion for the anxious devotees. His nose is prominent, and his crystal clear cheeks are illuminated by the oscillations of his glittering alligator shaped earrings. 30. The yogi then meditates upon the beautiful face of the Lord, which is adorned with curly hair and decorated by lotus like eyes and dancing eyebrows. A lotus surrounded by swarming bees and a pair of swimming fish would be put to shame by its elegance. 31. The yogis should contemplate with full devotion the compassionate glances frequently cast by the Lord's eyes, for they soothe the most fearful threefold agonies of his devotees. His glances, accompanied by loving smiles, are full of abundant grace. 32. A yogi should similarly meditate on the most benevolent smile of Lord Sri Hari, a smile which, for all those who bow to him, dries away the ocean of tears caused by intense grief. The yogi should also meditate on the Lord's arched eyebrows, which are manifested by his internal potency, in order to charm the sex god for the good of the sages. 33. With devotions steeped in love and affection, the yogi should meditate within the core of his heart upon the laughter of Lord Vishnu. The laughter of Vishnu is so captivating that it can be easily meditated upon. When the Supreme Lord is laughing, one can see his small teeth, which resemble jasmine buds, rendered rosy by the splendor of his lips. Once devoting his mind to this, the yogi should no longer desire to see anything else. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, thank you so much, Mate. Hare Krishna. Yeah, whenever you're ready, Sri Krishna Prabhuji, you can go ahead, Prabhu. You're in mute, Prabhu, Sri Krishna Prabhu. Are you still here?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Yes.
Yeah, that long Vishnu Prabhupada Gurudev. Hare Krishna. One second, I'm trying to yeah. Thank you so much, Gopijana Mataji, Prabhuji. Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya cha Nandagopakumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha Vairagya Vidya Nija Bhakti Yogam Sikshastamekam Purusha Puranam Sri Krishna Chaitanya Sariradari Kripamudittamaham Prapadye Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Today we are seeing a very wonderful and beautiful section. Lord Kapiladev is actually giving instructions on how to engage the mind. So the mind is always hankering after thoughts, and Kapiladev is giving this beautiful form of the lotus, Lord's form from the lotus feet to the lotus face, and how to meditate, and he is giving all the details. It's very wonderful to see these verses. So we'll just glance through some of these verses today. And there are elaborate purports in all of these verses. So in the beginning of this chapter, when Kapiladev is actually says to Mother Devahuti that I'm going to explain this form of yoga, which can be used for contemplating, and fixing the mind, so that the mind actually has an object of thought and a form. And the form he is explaining is none other than Lord Vishnu, in the Vaikuntha planets. So now starting from verse number 23, he's describing upon, is just starting from the Lord's lotus feet. So this is exactly the form of the Lord that we take darshan in the temple, Radha Madhav. So Madhav's, you can imagine, actually in our temple, Madhava is decorated so beautifully. Like if you can focus on the Lord's beauty beginning from the lotus feet and gradually going up, you can as we go through these verses, you can imagine that form of the Lord that you take darshan in the temple. And so in the verse number 23, uh, as soon as the lotus feet comes into the picture, and Mother Lakshmi is also appearing here. So Mother Lakshmi is basically massaging Lord's lotus feet, and she's serving the Lord in a transcendental service. So she's also worshipped by all of the demigods. And um, so now how the yogi should fix his mind. Um, so now Brahma, who is the master of all the demigods, is like Brahma's mother. Um, Now here in this verse, Abhavashya is mentioned. Abhavashya, bhava means anything connected to this material world. So we call bhava sagara, bhavaroga. So abhavashya means it's transcendental to this material world, um, belonging to the spiritual world. So the Lord, is also mentioned here as Vibhoho Abhavashya Kuryat. So Lord is called Vibhu. He is the greatest, and he doesn't touch this material world. He's transcendental to material existence. So we should meditate on that Lord. What is the scene of the meditation is the Lord's lotus feet is being massaged by Mother Lakshmi, and the Lord's lotus feet is massaged by Mother Lakshmi, and we should focus on that pastime of the Lord that is being enacted by Mother Lakshmi. So that activities, this particular activity, Kapila is saying that we should meditate. So here, um, in the purport, Prabhupada is giving that Brahma, is just like in this world when the baby is born, the baby is connected to the mother in the umbilical cord. Similarly, Lord, in the first creation, Lord Brahma and Lord Vishnu, Garbhodaksa Vishnu, they are connected with the lotus stem emanated from his abdomen, umbilical cord. This is like a symbolical or actual, the Lord, how the Brahma appears in this manifestation of this universe. So this connection Lord was able to do alone. He doesn't take help of the mother because he's Swarat and he's also transcendental. So all of his senses are capable of performing any of those activities. Just like in Brahma says in Brahma Samhita, Angani Yashya Sakalendriya Vrittimanti. Like any of these senses can do all other activities. Pashyanti Panti Kalayanti Chiram Jaganti Ananda Chinmaya Sadujvala Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. So then the next yogi, should fix now we saw the Lord's lotus feet, just like you take darshan in the temple from the lotus feet, the beautiful lotus feet, and then just after meditating on the lotus feet, you go on the Lord's thighs. So the Lord's thighs is mentioned as the storehouse of all the energy. So it is uh, here it's mentioned Ojaha Nidhi. So Ojaha is like the energy, and Nidhi is like the storehouse of all the energy. And it is also here it's mentioned Atashika Kushama Avabashau. So this it's like a lion-sized flower, and it's just like the Lord is when the Lord is carried by the Garuda in the shoulders of Garuda. Um, the thighs actually glitter like a lotus, whitish blue. So whitish blue, the thighs glitter, and this form of the Lord, the yogi should meditate. And so, and also some features of the hips is also mentioned here. The hips are rounded and encircled by the yellow silk cloth that extends down to his ankles. So this is the yellow garment that is used, by the Lord in the Vaikuntha planets. Pita, Sapita Vastram. So in the when when this Vishnu Sahasranam invocation prayers comes, there also beautifully it's mentioned Sapita Vastram, Santakaram, Bhujaga Sayanam, Padmanabham, Suresham, Vishwadaram, Gagana Sadrusham, Megavarnam, Shubhangam, Lakshmi Kantam, Kamalanayanam, Yogi Bhi Dhyanagamyam, Vande Vishnu, Bhavabhayharam, Sarva Lokaikanatham. So then that Lord's beautiful thighs, and that is decorated, with a um, beautiful yellow garment, and which is, whitish blue. That form of the Lord we should meditate when we go just above the Lord's lotus feet. And here, Prabhupada also mentions that this is exactly represented in the Archa Vigraha in the temple. So, so generally, the Lord's feet is covered with the yellow silken garment, and this is the dress that Lord wears in the Vaikuntha planet, spiritual sky. So again, in every aspect of this purport, Prabhupada mentions that there is no need of meditating on something imaginary. So all of these details are given, which is as per the Lord's actual form. So we should meditate on this actual form as opposed to something imaginary. So this we can keep that in mind as we go through every one of these verses. Now, just above the Lord's thighs is the Nabi. So when the Nabi comes, Mother Kunti's prayers also, like, we can remember, like she says, Nama Pankaja Nabaya. So the Nabi is like a lotus flower, resembles a lotus flower. So here, Nabi Hrudam. So the navel lake. So it is mentioned like a lake. Bhuvana Kosha Guhodara Stam. So here, um, Brahma is actually is born on a lotus flower. So here the Nabi is mentioned like a lake. It's a moon-like lake. In the center of his abdomen, this navel, the Brahma, the lotus flower sprouts, and then the Brahma appears on this. It's like a beautiful description of Lord's, abdomen. Um, so then, so here Brahma is mentioned as Yatratma Yoni, Atma Yoni. So Atma Yoni is like the manifested, just by the Lord Himself, So by His potencies. Now the yogi should concentrate his mind on Lord's this abdomen, which is resembling like a exquisite emeralds. So here, Vyudam Harin Mani Vrishastanayor Amushyaha. So here, it's like a emeralds, which again mentioned as whitish, and milk white pearl necklaces are adorning his chest. So if you look at Madhava's decoration in the temple, every time they wear, some pearl necklaces, some golden necklaces adorning the chest. So here it's mentioned as milk white pearl necklaces is adorning his chest. So now Prabhupada is also explaining here that how Brahma Samhita, Lord has that potency that he can actually use any of his senses for any of the purposes. It's just as example of Brahmaji is born without just like, in this material world, anybody has to be, a child has to be born. There is a mother and father, and they have to, procreate. But Lord being Swarat, is self-sufficient. He can just create the first living entity, Brahmaji, from his own potencies. And then after meditating on the Lord's uh, abdomen, Nabi, now the Lord's chest is being mentioned here. So as soon as the Lord's chest is mentioned, so again in the Vishnu Sahasranam, it is mentioned that Sasanka Chakram Sakirita Kundalam Sapita Vastram Sarasuru Yakshanam Sahara Vakshasthala Kaustuba Striyam. So the Lord actually wears the Kaustuba mani in the chest, which is actually the symbol of Mother Lakshmi. So that is also mentioned here. So here it says that Mahavibhutahe. So Mahavibhutahe is actually Mahalakshmi Pumsam Manaha Nayana Nivritam. So for the transcendental pleasure uh, is actually the Lord's chest is mentioned as the source of all transcendental pleasure for the manaha, mind, and it gives full satisfaction for the eyes. So the special emphasis is given on the Lord's chest here. So, we are talking about the whole of these verses is to how to engage the mind in the meditation of the Lord. But Lord's chest is given a special attention. It gives completely transcendental pleasure. Mano Nayana Nivritam Adadanam. So then here it's mentioned Kantam cha Kastuba Maner. So this Kastuba Mani is decorating the Lord. It is mentioned that this Kastuba Mani is the Lord's form, the chest, a beautiful chest, is actually increasing the beauty of the Kastuba Mani. So it's not the other way around. Like generally we wear ornaments, the ornaments increases our beauty. But here the Lord's beauty is increasing the beauty of the ornaments. So this is the form of the Lord that then yogi should meditate on the chest. So Prabhupada also elaborating here how yogi can actually sit anywhere, in an auspicious place. Generally, yogis sit on some auspicious place on a river or mountains or forests and meditate upon the Lord's form. But one who is not advanced to think of the Lord, we should go to temple. And there is no difference between the Lord's form meditated here and the form that is decorated in the temple, Lord Madhava's form, and the same blessings one can get just by meditating on the form of the Lord in the Archa Vigraha form also. So then you can understand that the potency of the Archa Vigraha in the temple. Like, so you go to the temple, and then just by looking at the Archa Vigraha form, if we can meditate on that form, then we get the same benefit that yogi is getting by meditating on this transcendental form. So Prabhupada is also quoting about this 9 processes beginning from Smaranam, Shravanam, Kirtanam, Archanam. And then the Smaranam, the meditation comes. This meditation, the yogis can take advantage of this by this special process of hearing and chanting. So now on the verse number 27, Lord's 4 arms, Sankha Chakra, Gada Padmam, is mentioned here, and Lord's 4 arms is mentioned as the source of all powers. So here Bahimscha Mandaragiri Parivartanene. So here Mandara mountain is mentioned. When the Lord's arms is mentioned, Mandara mountain is mentioned because this is one of the pastimes the Lord performed, that he lifts the Mandara mountain by his powerful, hands, and the yogis should concentrate on this pastime as well as the Lord's these four hands. So, what are some features mentioned here? Is this Lord is holding Shankha, Chakra, Gada, Padma, and it has like this chakra has like the 1,000 spokes. So 1,000 pointed, spokes, and it's dazzling. It's mentioned here as dazzling, and it's a lotus is palm is again considered as Padma, lotus-like palm. Um, so Lord's lotus, hands. After meditating on this Lord's lotus hands, then gradually the yogi goes, also meditates upon this. The Shankha Chakra Gada, the Gada is named as Kaumodaki. So the Kaumodaki club is also, here it's being mentioned because Lord is actually Paritranaya Sadhunam Vinashaya Chadushkrutam. So he is merciful upon the devotees, and he is also very, very strong on the demons. So he's here it's mentioned that the club is smashing the demons and inimical soldiers and speared with the blood. So, and this is also transcendental. Like this blood is like, again, we can imagine like how in the meditation this thing also is appearing, because everything is transcendental. Whatever Lord does is transcendental. That we should meditate upon how this club is saving all the devotees and destroying the demons. So and then Lord's nice garland is also mentioned. The garland, a particular aspect of Madhuvrata. So Malam Madhuvrata. So like this garland is being surrounded by bumblebees. So we can imagine how nectarian those garlands must be. And and also just not that, and Varuta Gira, like this, these bees, when the bees are there, there is also sound zzz, like that. That sound is also mentioned here. So we can, so all of these meditation is not just like blind, right? It has animation, it has details. So we should actually all of these details, we should just think about these details so that when we meditate on the Lord, we can actually you put these details in the meditation. And so now it is mentioned that Lord's neck is especially considered pure living entities. So, so it is mentioned that Lord keeps pure living entities. Um, so on the portion of his neck, like in this material world, is also like Brahmaloka, Satyaloka is the highest planetary system. There is like Bhu, Bhuvar, Mahar, Tapas, Janaloka, Satyaloka. Like in these planetary systems, it is compared to the Lord's, neck, very, very pure living entities live. So similarly here also it's mentioned. Um, so here also in Prabhupada also mentions that um, uh, here two classes of living entities, is mentioned. Like one is the devotees, Sura and Ashura. So these two classes, they are actually the Lord's pastimes with the Kaumodaki, like by smashing these enemies, that is also supposed to be meditated by yogis. And then verse number 29, then yogi from the uh, Lord's Shankha Chakra Gada Padma, then he goes on to the Lord's uh, Lord's lotus face. He doesn't goes to the Lord's lotus face immediately. So first he is focusing on the features of cheeks and the nose. So the features of the cheeks and the nose is mentioned, and here it's mentioned that Vidyati. So here it's mentioned Makara Vishpuram Makara Kundala Valgitena. So here it says that Vadana Aravindam. So here it says that the Makara is translated as alligator shaped. So the alligator shaped is, I don't know how we can imagine this, but his, so his, the cheeks are, it's like glittering, just like shaped like alligator, and uh, um, is also eliminating amala, crystal clear. So kopalam, and his nose is mentioned as very prominent and sharp, very prominent. So these are the four features just before going to the lotus face. And here Prabhupada mentions that Lord has, the devotees, the pure devotees are kept on the lotus, neck. And then how about these demons? These demons are punished by the Kamodaki, and they don't even come in front of the Lord. They're so scared, So Lord always has this to um, um, so and then here again coming, the yogi has coming to the meditation of the lotus, beautiful lotus face. Now the lotus face, when the lotus face is gradually from lotus feet to the lotus face, now it is mentioned as uh, dancing eyebrows and lotus-like eyes, and again surrounded by this swarming bees. So here, Kutila Kuntala Vrinda Justam. So these are very beautiful verses here. So you can go through. Meena Dvayashrayam Adikshipyat. Meena means like the, just like the fish, like fish, how the fish is appearing. A pair of swimming fish, just like his eyes, when it is moving, it just looks like the pair of swimming fish. And it is like even, so elegance. So that was the, and curly hair is mentioned here, and dancing eyebrows. So, so here also another word is mentioned, Dhyayen Manomayam. So Prabhupada says this Manomayam is not like imagination. So impersonalists, they think generally, any form you like, you can meditate. But devotees, they don't imagine any form of the Lord. Exactly the details mentioned here, they capture it and they meditate. And of course, the Lord also reveals within the heart. So, and then verse number going forward, 31 to 33. Now the Lord's compassionate glance by the lotus eyes is also mentioned. So now here, like threefold, um, like by the glance of the lotus eyes, the threefold miseries go away. So that part is mentioned here in this verse. And a loving smiles, like, so here again, in this material world, we have these threefold miseries: Adi Bhautika, Adi Daivika, and Adhyatmika. So here the way to get rid of these threefold miseries is by the glance of the Lord, by the Lord's. So when we can meditate upon this Lord's lotus face, we can, just focus on this point that just by Lord's glance, all these threefold miseries can be completely gone. Now, on the last 32 and 33 verse, so here, now Lord's smile is mentioned. Lord's smile, like, Lord's smile is compared to um, here is like it can driven away the ocean of tears caused by intense grief. So, like, what is the ocean of tears? This is like Like in other words, like all of the miseries can be completely eradicated by the smile of the Lord. Then yogi also, now in the lotus phase, their eyebrows. Then yogi here is has to meditate on the eyebrows, which even that Cupid is also is charmed by his eyebrows. So that's why the Radha Madana Mohana, this Lord's face, especially eyebrows, is mentioned to meditate on. If somebody is attracted by the opposite sex, they have been asked to meditate on the Lord's lotus face, especially on the eyebrows, just to because the Lord's eyebrows even attracts the Cupid. So, and then finally here, the verse number 33. Um, so here it is mentioned, Dhyayana Ayanam Prahashitam. So the Lord's laughter and um, uh, so the laughter of the Lord Vishnu, when his smile is mentioned before, now the laughter of the Lord Vishnu is mentioned. How it is so captivating when when somebody laughs, the features of his teeth is visible. Similarly, Lord's teeth is mentioned. It resembles like a just like a small jasmine buds. So the jasmine buds, when it is not flowered, just the buds, you can imagine splendor. And The yogi now finally, Kapiladev is concluding in this verse saying that once the yogi is meditating on this form of the Lord, then the yogi completely, focuses on the object of the meditation and it desires nothing else. So here it is concluded in this 33, verse number 33. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, Prabhuji. Sorry I went a little ahead today, 37.
That's okay, bro. The beautiful form of the Lord was wonderful. Thank you for explaining that nicely, bro. I was just appreciating that Makara Kundalam, the ornament ear rings of the Lord, they're shaped like alligator, like that. In some places, it's mentioned as shark, like in Damodarashtakam, but here it's Prabhu translated as a crocodile or alligator, like that.
Yes.
That's true. Thank you, Prabhu, for sharing. Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much.